Power Apps Portals versus Custom React Portal, a decision guide for IT leaders. So, Power Apps Portals. It's something a lot of people ask about, and today we're going to walk through it step by step. Let's talk about moving on to what are Power Apps Portals. Power Apps Portals are low-code, external-facing web applications built on Microsoft's Power Platform. They let organizations expose dataverse data and business processes to users outside the organization without requiring Microsoft 365 licenses. Microsoft rebranded the product as Power Pages in 2022, though the underlying architecture remains unchanged. Both terms refer to the same capability, a template-driven portal builder that sits on top of Dataverse and connects natively to the broader Power Platform ecosystem. Whether you're starting fresh or extending an existing Dataverse deployment, Power Pages development is typically faster than building from scratch in React. Before comparing portals to React, it helps to clarify the terminology. Power Apps spans three distinct types: Canvas apps, model-driven apps, and portals. Understanding when Canvas apps versus model-driven apps apply is useful context because portals are specifically the external-facing layer. Canvas apps give makers pixel-perfect control over internal interfaces. Model-driven apps follow data schemas automatically. Power Pages portals are what your customers or partners access through a browser. Now, what is a custom React portal and how does it differ? A custom React portal is a purpose-built web application using the React JavaScript library, typically connected to a .NET or Node.js backend, consuming APIs from whatever data sources your organization uses. This comparison isn't really React versus Microsoft. It is low-code configuration versus full-code engineering. React gives your development team complete control over every component, every API call, every accessibility standard, and every performance optimization. Power Pages gives your team a faster starting point with structural constraints built in. For teams already working with custom React development services, the React path feels natural. For teams without dedicated front-end engineers, it can become a maintenance burden within 18 months. Now, Power Apps Portals versus Custom React, side-by-side comparison. Here is how the two approaches compare across the dimensions that matter most to IT decision-makers. Power Apps Portals win on time to value in most standard scenarios. A self-service customer portal can go from requirements to live in 3 to 4 weeks when the data already lives in Dataverse. Custom React projects rarely hit the timeline unless the team has an existing codebase and familiar infrastructure to build on. If your portal needs to connect to Dynamics 365, SharePoint, and Power Automate workflows, the Power Platform connector ecosystem reduces integration work dramatically. For teams using Power Automate Consulting to design the workflow layer alongside the portal, this native integration advantage compounds significantly. Custom React portals need each of those connections built and maintained separately. Let's talk about moving on to when should you choose Power Apps Portals. Power Apps Portals make the most sense when speed, Microsoft ecosystem alignment, and citizen developer participation matter more than total UI freedom. Specific scenarios where Power Pages is the right call. Power Pages works well for customer self-service portals, partner and distributor portals, grantor application submission portals, and supplier registration workflows. For Power Automate workflow examples that pair well with these portal patterns, our workflow library covers approval chains, case routing, and escalation logic. If your use case fits one of these patterns and your data is already in Dataverse, Power Pages is almost always cheaper in year one. Next up, when custom React development makes more sense. Custom React development wins when portal requirements exceed what template-driven tools can deliver. The honest answer is that React is the right choice when your organization needs something that looks and behaves unlike any standard Microsoft portal. If your design team has a strict brand language, your portal must load in under 2 seconds on mobile, or you're integrating with 3 or more non-Microsoft external systems, the overhead of working around Power Pages constraints will exceed the time saved up front. React gives you ownership over component architecture, state management, performance budget, and accessibility implementation. Organizations in regulated industries like healthcare or banking often need audit-level control over exactly what data is transmitted and where. That's easier to enforce in custom code than in a low-code platform. Next up, Power Platform governance and the center of excellence. No comparison between portal approaches is complete without addressing governance. Power Platform's accessibility is also its biggest governance risk. Power Platform governance is the set of policies, processes, and technical controls that prevent citizen developers from creating ungoverned apps, unsecured data connections, or compliance gaps. Without it, organizations end up with dozens of unmanaged portals and connectors that IT leadership didn't approve and cannot audit. Power Platform governance prevents shadow IT through DLP policies, environment strategies, and approval workflows. A well-configured DLP policy blocks connectors that shouldn't access sensitive dataverse tables. An environment strategy separates development, test, and production workloads. Without these in place, citizen developer governance programs create compliance risk alongside productivity gains. Next up, total cost of ownership, what IT leaders often underestimate. The upfront build cost comparison is simple. PowerPages is faster and cheaper to start. The 5-year TCO comparison is more nuanced. Custom React portals require ongoing front-end engineering for feature additions, security patches, dependency updates, and infrastructure management. If your team doesn't have dedicated React developers, these costs are typically outsourced at rates higher than initially budgeted. A realistic estimate is 20 to 30% of the initial build cost annually for ongoing maintenance. PowerPages licensing isn't free. Authenticated portals charge per unique monthly login, and for a portal with 10,000 authenticated users, the monthly cost becomes significant. If your use case also involves dataverse consulting to build back-end data models, add those fees to your platform cost baseline. Let's talk about conclusion. Power Apps portals are the right choice when you need external-facing functionality fast, your data lives in Dataverse, and your team can operate within the platform's structural boundaries. Custom React portals are the right choice when UI complexity, performance requirements, or non-Microsoft integrations exceed what PowerPages handles well. The decision doesn't have to be binary. Organizations often run PowerPages for a customer self-service portal while maintaining a custom React application for a partner-facing analytics dashboard. The tools solve different problems within the same organization and can coexist within a well-governed Power Platform ALM strategy. If you're working through a portal architecture decision, book a free portal architecture call with the Q Services team. We build on both sides of this comparison and will review your requirements, data model, and team capabilities to give you a recommendation grounded in your actual constraints. You can also explore how Q Services builds Power Platform Center of Excellence programs to see what governance-first portal development looks like in practice.